When you think of Loki, the Norse god of mischief, you probably picture the charming villain from the movies. You see him as Thor's annoying brother, a trickster who changes shape and causes trouble. But in the original Norse myths, Loki is far more terrifying and bizarre than any movie could ever depict. He isn't just a trickster, he is the father, and sometimes the mother, of the monsters that will one day destroy the world. Today, we are going to meet the most dysfunctional family in mythology. We will look at the Great Wolf Fenrir, the World Serpent Jormungandr, the goddess of death Hel, and the strangest of them all, the eight-legged horse that Loki actually gave birth to. To understand Loki's children, we first have to understand his role in Asgard. Loki was not an Aesir god, he was a giant, Odin, living among the gods. He was tolerated because he was blood brothers with Odin. But Loki had a secret life. He would frequently sneak away to the Ironwood to visit a giantess named Angrboda. She was a witch, and together, they produced 3 children that terrified the gods of Asgard. The first child was Jormungandr, a serpent. At first, he was small, but he grew at an alarming rate. Odin, foreseeing that this snake would bring doom, threw him into the deep ocean that surrounds the world. But this didn't kill him. Jormungandr grew so large that he encircled the entire earth and bit his own tail. He became the Midgard serpent. It is said that when he releases his tail, the world will end. His rivalry with Thor is legendary. On a fishing trip, Thor once caught Jormungandr on his hook and tried to pull him up, staring into the serpent's ancient, hate-filled eyes. He failed to kill him then, but they are destined to meet again. At Ragnarok, Thor will kill the serpent, but he will only take 9 steps before dropping dead from the monster's poison. The second child was Hel. She was born with a shocking appearance. One half of her body was that of a beautiful woman, but the other half was a rotting, blue corpse. She was half living, half dead. Odin banished her to Niflheim, the realm of ice and mist. There, she became the queen of the dead. But her kingdom is not a palace, it is a house of horrors. The myths tell us her hall is called El-Judnir, which means sleet cold. Her plate is called hunger, her knife is called famine, and her bed is called sickness. She rules over those who die of old age, waiting patiently for the day she will lead a ship made of dead men's fingernails against the gods. But the third child was the most terrifying of all, Fenrir the wolf. Unlike his siblings, Fenrir lived in Asgard among the gods as a puppy. But he grew so massive that only the god of war, Tyr, was brave enough to feed him. The gods realized that Fenrir would one day eat them all, so they decided to bind him. But it wasn't easy. First, they tried a heavy iron chain called lading. Fenrir broke it with a single stretch. Then, they made a chain twice as strong called dromi. Fenrir shattered it into pieces. The gods were terrified. Finally, they turned to the dwarves, who forged a magical ribbon called Sleipnir. It was made from impossible things, the sound of a cat's footsteps, the beard of a woman, the roots of a mountain, and the breath of a fish. It looked like silk, but it was unbreakable. The gods challenged Fenrir to break it. The wolf, suspecting a trap, said, "I will let you bind me, but only if one of you puts your hand in my mouth as a pledge of good faith." Only Tyr was brave enough. He placed his hand between Fenrir's massive jaws. When Fenrir realized he was trapped, he bit down, tearing Tyr's hand off. Today, Fenrir remains bound, howling in the dark, waiting for the day he will swallow Odin whole. But Loki's family gets even weirder. Those 3 were his children with the giantess. But there is one child that Loki birthed himself. Yes, you heard that right. Loki was the mother. The story goes that the gods hired a builder to build a wall around Asgard. The builder promised to finish it in 1 winter, but he demanded the sun, the moon, and the goddess Freya as payment. The gods agreed, thinking it was impossible. But the builder had a magical stallion named Svadilfari that pulled massive stones incredibly fast. As the deadline approached, the gods panicked and threatened Loki, "Stop him, or we will kill you." So, Loki shape-shifted into a beautiful mare, a female horse, to distract the builder's stallion. He lured the stallion away into the woods. Without his horse, the builder failed. But Loki returned pregnant. He later gave birth to a grey foal with 8 legs named Sleipnir. Loki gave him to Odin as a gift. Sleipnir became the fastest horse in the 9 realms. So, whenever you see Odin riding his magnificent steed, remember, that horse is Loki's son. However, Loki's story does not end happily. After causing the death of Odin's beloved son Baldur, the gods finally had enough. They captured Loki and took him to a cave. In a cruel twist of irony, they used the entrails of his own son Narfi to bind him to a rock. Then, the goddess Skadi placed a venomous snake above his head, so that poison would drip onto his face for eternity. But Loki was not entirely alone. His loyal wife, Sigyn, stayed by his side. She holds a bowl over his face to catch the poison. But whenever the bowl fills up, she has to leave to empty it. In that split second, the poison hits Loki's face. He screams and thrashes so violently that he causes earthquakes in the human world. He lies there, in agony, waiting for Ragnarok. This family represents the chaos of the Norse world. A giant wolf, a world-encircling snake, a rotting queen, an 8-legged horse, and a tortured father. They are not just monsters, they are the destiny of the gods. At Ragnarok, the chains will break. Loki will lead his children into battle, and the world will burn. So the next time you see Loki making jokes in a movie, remember the monsters he keeps in his family tree. He is not just the god of mischief, he is the father of the apocalypse.